I'm never gonna look at going to the zoo the same way again. War for the Planet of the Apes is the third movie in the new Planet of the Apes trilogy. This whole trilogy is kind of a prequel to the old Planet of the Apes movies. I'm not sure what continuity it's in as far as which remake it goes with, because there's a lot of remakes of that movie, but it happens before basically any of the movies. It's kind of explaining how the apes became smart and how all the humans died out. Basically, if you watch the first movie of this trilogy when it came out, you're probably either a nerd or a really old person. I really like the first two movies of this trilogy. The second movie is probably one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. It's just really, really good. And the first one's pretty solid. Basically, the trilogy goes Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then this new one, War for the Planet of the Apes. I just saw this movie in the theaters today, and it was really, really, really good. It's my favorite in the trilogy by far. Basically, it did all the things a third movie should do right. It's lots of times in a trilogy, the first movie is pretty good, the second movie is the best, and the third one is like okay. It's the worst out of the three. But I really thought that this movie series got better as it went along. The first movie was good, second movie was really good, and this third movie was really, really good. As far as the technical things go, not even as far as the story goes, I thought this movie was shot really, really well. First two acts mostly, the cinematography I thought was really, really well done, and the color grading also was really good. The third act, it's a lot harder to say whether I thought it was shot well or not, because everything was a lot darker, which I don't want to spoil the movie, but just everything was a lot grayer and darker and had a lot of blacks and grays in it, which it's hard to say that had great color grading when it's just a lot of blacks and grays, but it was still really good. And then as far as the story goes, I thought this was the best story out of the three movies. It was really intense. It was very emotional. It's literally monkeys, but I got choked up like probably 3 times in this movie. And the ending does the series a lot of justice. It's a really good ending. It's one that I didn't think of when I watched these movies, but it's the ending that made the most sense, and I really liked it. As far as performances go, I thought everything was really, really good. Caesar, who's played by Andy Serkis, another really, really solid performance. Andy Serkis just does a great job with these motion capture CGI characters. It was really, really good. The bad guy, played by Woody Harris, Colonel McCullough, that's his name. Colonel McCullough, played by Woody Harris. Woody Harris.
Woody Harris.
Okay. The bad guy, Colonel McCullough. Okay. The villain, Colonel McCullough. Okay. The villain, played by Colonel McCullough. Okay. The villain, Colonel McCullough, played by Woody Harris, was also really, really well done. When I watched the trailers, I thought this would be a very one-dimensional villain, also a very overacted villain, because Woody Harris does that sometimes, but I thought this was really, really good. He had a lot more depth than I thought he would have, and he was just he was well acted, and also he was just very cruel and very mean, and he had a motivation, and it was just a well done villain. There are also some more side characters that come into this movie, and a lot of the side characters that were in the first two movies have a more prominent role in this movie. The orangutan, can't remember his name, he has a big role, and so does Rocket, and a random gorilla that I forgot his name too. They all have really big roles in this movie, which I liked. All in all, I think everyone gave really, really solid performances. The CG in this movie was really, really impressive. They keep on making the apes look realer and realer with each movie. Is realer a word? Let's pretend it's a word. They look really, really good. There were a few shots in this movie that I actually thought were close up to the apes, just basically to show how good the CG was. At this point, it literally wouldn't make a difference if they had real apes in this movie. Like, they just look so real. It's super cool. And all the expressions on their faces and everything, flawless. Like, it's super good. These movies have had a long time in between each movie, because it just takes so long to do all this CG, and you can tell why. It just looks really good. Yeah, so basically, all in all, this was just a third movie in a trilogy done right. It was just done very, very well. It was very emotional, a very, very good story. As far as the technical things go, it was done really, really well, and yeah, I liked it a lot. It was just really stinking good. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this movie. I would definitely recommend you go see it, especially see it in the theaters if you really like the first two movies. If you like this video, I would encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out more of my videos if you want to know my thoughts about more movies. Until next time, have a great week. See ya.